Hi, my name is Larry Brown. I'm a therapist here in the West Springfield office of Handle Behavioral Services. I started practicing so many years ago, I'm afraid to tell you, and I'm just as enthusiastic today in 2022 than I was when I started, maybe even more. I need the client to feel comfortable and confident, and I let them know that. I'll say, you don't have to tell me the truth. And sometimes people just feel a need to protect themselves, and I respect that. This is the first time you ever met me. What's most important is that you're able to get out what you can and feel good about coming. And it is sometimes a compromise. I may have actually what I think is a better idea, but I'm going to go with what the client wants until proven otherwise. Nowadays, I use a lot of CBT. So the population that often comes to this clinic, they may have anxiety problems, but they're not fully agoraphobic or social phobic, they're not fully disabled. So those techniques work best with there's plenty of anxiety, but it's much more likely to have success without using medication. One of the things I try to do is be careful about giving homework. Clients often don't like homework. So I tell them, hey, you do it or you don't. It won't be the end of the world. Um, but in terms of some CBT work, naturally we want to practice the techniques in the outside world, not in the office. So say someone had an accident and she's afraid of getting back on the highway, maybe we use the technique of exposure therapy where bit by bit she's reintroducing herself to the car. And it can be in bits and pieces that she can tolerate. Not what I think she should do, but what she can do. One thing is interesting is we had to talk about substance abuse. And one of the things that I have changed is that it's gotten a lot tougher, or I've gotten less directive than it used to be. The old school thought was uh, abstinence, and that also was for problem drinkers. So, but I've had clients um, here that were problem drinkers and that successfully moderated their alcohol intake. I let them decide. I'll make a suggestion that they go to detox if they're actively using. But I am not as, my voice isn't as strong and as insistent upon it because I know it's a tough road in recovery. And if they're not interested in going, they're probably not going to really pay much attention to me. I think that the great value of in-person sessions is that people don't feel self-conscious because they're not looking at the Doxy box or the Zoom box, and they feel more comfortable when they can see the therapist fully. And that, though that does facilitate people feeling more natural, and that lowers their anxiety level